Hello and good afternoon, TVI viewers. Welcome to CrossRoads with Neethan and Shan. As you know, CrossRoads is a weekly talk show dedicated to discussing a variety of topics that are relevant to the social, economic, political, and cultural advancements of Tamil Canadians. There's been a lot of talk and attention to back home politics in recent times, more so than previous years. There is a possible parliamentary election coming up in the summer. So today's episode of CrossRoads, we are going to be taking a closer look on the ground politics the situation in Ilam. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Thangavelu Velupillai.
Yes.
And you are an active member of TNA.
Yes.
You're part of TNA Canada, Tamil National Alliance as well, and has been a community activist in the Tamil community for decades now. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And Pranasri Ayathura has been a community activist locally, politically, and socially on progressive issues. And you are also of the support for an alternative leadership, an alternative view on the ground situation in politics as well.
That's
so
right.
Thanks for joining, Pranasri. So let's get right into the topic. You know, depending on who you talk to nowadays, you know, there's different versions of what is the most pressing issue or need in Ilam or in our homeland, you know, however you define it. So let's start with you. What is the most pressing need or challenge or issue that we are confronting as a society in Ilam?
Well, not only Ilam, you know, the whole country. Yeah. There is an impending elections. It is supposed to have taken place in the June or something like that, but they couldn't agree on the electoral system. Mm-hmm. And according to today's newspaper, the cabinet has agreed. Mm-hmm. That means both the opposition and the government. And you know, incidentally, that the government is a minority government. Mm-hmm. You know, the Prime Minister is Vikram Singh. He has only 45 members in the Parliament. Mm-hmm. But he has a mandate from the people at the last presidential election, because the mandate was that if Sirisena wins the election, then he will be the Prime Minister. So today they have agreed on a total of 237 seats, from 225 to 237, out of which 155 will be on first past the post, for another 45 on a proportionate system, and the rest 37 will be on national list.
Okay.
So that probably will go through. Yeah. After that, probably the parliament will be dissolved.
So say there is an election. I just want to get to the kind of what is the most pressing concern according to people from heard through the political parties that you are associated with, right? The ballot question, basically. You know, if the election does come, is it disappearances? Is it safety? Is it economy? Is it jobs? Is it what is it?
Actually, it all depends on the outcome of the election. We are hoping. You see, there is going to be a three-way contest. Mm-hmm. Between SLP Sirisena, SLP Mahinda Rajapaksa, and the UNP. So hopefully we are expecting the SLP Sirisena plus Ranil Wickremesinghe UNP to have a majority in the parliament. Mm-hmm. Very optimistically, we hope they will have a two-third majority. Okay. Because if they have a two-third...
When you say we, you're talking about TNA as a thing?
No, if they have a majority, you know, actually they are going to form a national government, in which probably, I'm not sure, but probably TNA will also take part. Okay. In which event we are hoping the government has promised, at least in the talks, we'll have a new constitution, in which we'll be pressing for regional autonomy under the principle of self-determination, internal self-determination, and the amalgamation of North and East. Okay. So we will be almost asking for a quasi-federal state.
Okay.
For the members.
Right. So let's get to your perspective. You know, I'm more interested in knowing on the ground situation from the people. What are you hearing as the most pressing?
First of all, thank you, Neethan and TVI for giving this opportunity for us. Because since I have been involved with this alternative initiative, and this is the first time I'm just coming to TVI and meet up with you and then viewers of the TVI. So thank you and hello viewers. Well, the thing is actually your question was like what are the pressing issues currently at the on the ground. So I think we can talk about the land issue and the prisoners, political prisoners, and of course the current government, what they have been doing as since they have come as a new government, and since our representatives keep on saying like these are our government or good governance. And of course, that they go further to say that within the government there are some good people or people with good intention. So I think when we talk about the land issue, and we all know that what has been happening, and then after the election, after the president's election, and there were a lot of things were promised, and especially the as in your topic, and the pressing issue as it is the land issue or the political prisoner issue is not being taken care that much. The thing is, to me, my views are that all these things are taken by the politicians as a sort of like a symbolic token way of doing it, right? And they are just showing some progress, and then they are simply come out and saying like if we can do more because of the single situation in the south, so we have to just go very slowly and all these things. So I think that our issue, I mean, when I say our issue, our Tamil national question, it is not merely a sort of technical issues after all these time of war and long history of struggle. So I think that we need to just see things in a very fundamental way than just looking at very technical way. So that is where I think, and my view, my strong feeling is that we should just like see things in a very fundamental way, and then we have to just go in technical and see that what are the concerns or the issues, as I just put it out, like the political prisoners and the land issues, right? And you probably might have heard and about what's happening in Sambur, and then even Valley North and what has been happening. And but the thing is, like politicians among us, and they are just taking simple these token incidents, and they are just boasting or kind of just putting out for news. Like I mean, in Vasaulan, they just went to Vasaulan temple and just make pongal and all these things. Right? That is not the thing. I mean, we have to just take into consideration. I mean, then how these people are being settled with the basic necessities and all this. It's nothing happened that in that aspect, right? And also with the political prisoners issue, that I mean, how many political prisoners been released so far? Then we probably all of us know that what is that the Justice Minister very lately said about the political prison. There's no political. He said like there's no political prison at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are the pressing issues. Actually, I think that we should like I mean, take all these issues that what they have been doing after the new government and what is that good governance, and then I mean that simply cannot just look at in a way of just looking at single issues, and we have to go in a very fundamental way of looking at it.
So I understand that you had a very optimistic view on what could be done, and optimism is good, and I think optimism is usually seen as a positive thing in our communities. But having seen the long history of broken promises, but forget the long history, the recent election, and haven't seen the progress the way it should have taken place. Having heard people say that the Tamils played a major role in contributing to the victory of the current president. And so where is this optimism coming from? Is it grounded in some talks of relationship, or is it grounded in something?
It's coming from the change of government, change of regime.
Okay.
And this government has been brought in not by the Tamils themselves. Of course, we were the decisive factor, because our votes counted, almost about 800,000 Tamil votes, plus another 400,000 Muslim votes. So we were the deciding factor. But apart from that, the votes among the Sinhalese also got divided.
Yeah.
You see, unlike in the 2010, there was a gap of 18 lakhs of votes.
Yeah.
But this time it was close enough. Although in the one in the Sinhalese Buddhist-dominated electorates, he lost in the north and
with
east.
our population, only when it's divided we could make a deciding factor.
When it is divided down the middle.
We make the.
But I refute the charges that the TNA was not doing enough. We are just making symbolic advances or something like that. If you remember, you see, Jaffna is under army occupation from 1995. That is about 30 years. So Valihamam North comes under in the Jaffna Peninsula. In Valihamam North, the government has released about 1,033 acres out of 6,382. I know it's a token thing, but this is all we could press for, because there is a lot of problems there. The lands can be released, but they are all now overgrown with bushes and trees and all things. So we had to do by stages. Up to now, I told you 1,333 families have been, the Vasau line you were speaking, those grammar survey areas have been released. As for Sambur, the entire 1,055 acres of land in Sambur has been released. But there's a hitch about there's a case pending in the Supreme Court because the land was vested on the Board of Investment government, and then Board of Investment went on an agreement with Gateway Industries, which is a Singaporean-based company. They promised to invest $4 billion to construct cement factory, construct auto industry, all those things. So they had gone to the courts saying they have invested money on that. But fortunately for us, this company didn't do any work there. So we hope we'll win the case. The case will be in favor of the government, in which case all these IDPs, they can go back to their land.
So is there an understanding of the big, I mean, I know these are important changes to individuals who are impacted, right? So on grassroots level, if 10 people get released, it's 10 people's important families that get better results, right? So it's important, I don't want to diminish it, but is there a bigger picture understanding of where we are headed to? Because,
yes.
Because at some point it's important that we lose momentum.
See, we didn't support the Sri Sena faction for nothing. There's nothing in the record. We didn't want a written statement or written agreement because we were sure that in that case, Mahinda will go to the people and say, oh, there's a secret pact. Yeah. So we didn't want it in writing. Yeah. But there was a gentleman agreement, and we have agreed on many things. And it all depends on as I said at the beginning,
okay.
The next
so
election,
there's a part 2 to this.
Yeah, part 2.
Okay, so part 1 is so coming to you. I mean, when we decided to go democratic way, as a community, armed struggle took us only to a certain far, but now the struggle is taken into diplomacy from the international circles, but political struggle back home. So when we go into democracy, it means different voices will emerge. Right. And you are thinking that an alternative voice is ideal to lead this, right? Yeah. Why so?
Well, before I just come to that question that you have just raised, and I think that what Mr. Thangavil has pointed out about the progress that what he have been made in Valigaman North. We should understand that all the Valigaman North lands were taken by the army during that most of them during the Chandrika government time. Right. So once we say that good governance and good personalities in there, they have a good intention about giving a sort of good thing for our Tamil people, and then why these good people can simply just take into consideration these lands were taken by them. Not even by the Mahinda. Like, let's say that Mahinda era, right, and then the Mullivaikal event. After the Mullivaikal, all these people were put up in camps, right, and even those camps were sort of in some way that got settled, right. I mean, by just taking those or letting those people just go and even settle in Mullivaikal. So even the Mahinda era has done certain things than the people that what they they are saying like they want to do more, and they don't do at all. Because these all lands, most of these lands were grabbed or taken by during the Chandrika government time. Anyhow, so he's saying that one, and then see, I really don't agree with Mr. Thangavelaya's what is that? Using words like saying like our government and then gentleman type of deal and all these things, right? And
no, I am saying the fact. Yeah. You see, because
I'm contradicting with the fact.
Let's say politicians back, just be gender neutral and just have two men here, but
well,
no gentlemen's act.
I think we have to see the difference, right, between so-called that the accepted or sort of using terms of politics or politics. In general, and the politics that what we are talking about.
But if that's the approach that particular party wants to take, that's their approach, right? I mean, if they want to be calling it as our government because they want to be part of it, right, and they wanted to call the pact as an understanding of memorandum, then that's what their perspective would be, right? But you're advocating that perspective would be dangerous.
Yes.
Because
that is, like let's say that if in a strategically or tactically that if we are using or if we are getting into with a very carefulness of with our own agenda, and then that would be fine. I mean that would work. I mean, somehow that we have to get into that sort of approach too. But the thing is, throughout during the past 6 odd years or 5 odd years, right? And we can see throughout a lot of activities and attitudes, and they are showing this is not merely a strategy or tactical thing, and they are very clearly showing that this is their political will. I mean, from there, they are using this word, right? And so that is why we not only we, I mean, people back home in Northeast, there are new emerging, right? I mean, people are sort of looking for an alternative, right? And they want to just give their voice. I mean, they want their voice heard through an alternative force.
Okay. So before we take a break, I want to get you to respond, but I also want to ask you: is it possible to collaborate without showing so much love? Like, praising them or saying it's our government, or the wordings has been very compromising in many ways. Like you kind of almost embrace, right? But is that the goodwill showing?
This change of government we brought in consciously, because we made a strategic.
So you're taking an ownership over it.
No, strategic decision to support Sirisena. See, because we want to get rid of Mahinda Rajapaksa, who suppose he would have been returned as president, elected as president, he would not have given even 1 acre in Valiama North. You would not have given 1 acre in Tampur.
No. My question is very specific to. It's important to collaborate to get the things done.
Of course,
that's understandable. But can we do that from a perspective of not necessarily being part of the regime?
We are not part of the government in the sense we are not holding any portfolio. The one issue that held back the TNA from accepting a portfolio, they were offered about 3 or 4, is the fact the international investigation going on in Geneva. Because we are for an international investigation, the government is for a domestic investigation. Suppose we go into the cabinet, then the cabinet responsibility, the collective responsibility, there will be an issue. That's one of the reasons we didn't join the government.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We're getting into the second part of what we wanted to talk about. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, let's talk a bit about the political philosophies behind the organizing that's taking place in our homeland.